he has turned into the most unhinged person personality that I have seen online.
Black Jaden, what's happening?
Hey Rob, how you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for calling.
I've been a fan of yours for a little bit. I've first watched you on a Destiny debate and heard your arguments against him from the January 6th election. Started watching you, so super glad I get to call in tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you. Thanks so much.
I started watching Destiny in probably 2022, maybe. Just like I saw him as a counterpoint of view of what I believe in, and like I feel like I've thought for a while that he was based in the way that he did his research and the way that he presents facts. But then at the beginning of this year, he has turned into the most unhinged person personality that I have seen online. He has pushed away any conservative fan that he has gained over the past 4 years. He has pushed away at the beginning of this year. And I feel like it's strictly due to an election cycle. And for somebody like Destiny, who normally does, I feel like, engage in good faith and engage in facts, he just completely turns unhinged when it gets close to an election cycle. And I just don't, I guess I would like your input on how to handle content creators like that when you're a fan of them, when you engage with them, and how do we go about battling these facts that they use to beat over our heads, even though the facts are usually taken out of context.
They feel the problem with there's two things going on with Destiny, right? And other people like Destiny. Now, let me say as a caveat, I don't wish Destiny any ill will. I don't. He's been pretty nice to me behind the scenes. He's let me come on the show, which has benefited me more than it's probably benefited him. So all that's good. I don't wish him ill. I could say that about 99.9% of all of the lefties I've interacted with, whether it be Pisco, Hutch, IRI, Pondering, Wick. I don't wish any of these people ill. Some I like more than others. Destiny I don't particularly dislike. I think he's entertaining. I think he's a pretty good debater, he's intelligent, and so I understand why way more people watch him than me. He's built a brand, and there's entertainment value in what he does. Now, when he's foraying into politics here, I think there's sort of two things going. One, to be a streamer in the political sphere, the more one-sided and sort of, I don't know that the word radical is correct, so let me find a different word for it. The more rabid of a supporter you are for your side, means that you're inherently going to see a bigger audience and get more reach. So there's not a lot of reach for sort of a nuanced opinion like, I think Trump's preferable, and I think that Trump does a lot of good, and he's the best candidate that I've ever seen that actually had a chance to win, etc., etc. But here's a lot of things I criticize about Trump. I do that, and all of a sudden, a bunch of people that watch me when I'm doing my shows talking about Trump being good, they get real mad when they hear me start talking about something I don't like about Trump. For example, 3 years ago, before I had built an audience that I've built now, it's not a big audience, but I think my audience is one of the best out there because I've never really pandered. I've just given my honest opinions. And as such, most of the people that have been with me for a long while, they disagree with me on things, and it's okay. They don't get infuriated. But there were a lot that did. If 4 years ago, if I would have said Trump lost a debate, I would have got eviscerated by 50% of my audience. What do you mean? That's garbage. Now I have people that say, I disagree with you, Rob. I think Trump won, but fair enough. John Beard, who's in the chat right now, I saw him saying earlier, I'm not going to agree with Rob about everything. I disagree with him on his takes on things like isolationism in Ukraine. So it's difficult I think it's more rewarding, maybe not financially, but it's more rewarding as a content creator to not pander, to not just take one side and always be on that side and that's it and I'll defend it no matter what. It's more rewarding to build an audience like that. However, it's not the easiest way to grow your audience. And so the more hyperbolic your take, the more rabid you are of defending your side. And so when it comes to sort of these political issues, when it's a non-political season, right, then Destiny can make arguments that sort of crosses the line. He could defend Kyle Rittenhouse. But then once we gear up, and I said this, I'd been saying this for a while. I said, it's so funny to me because when Trump was in office, all of these left-wing creators, the ones that were around back then, you had material every day. Trump did this, Trump did this. And it's not just the streamers. This is true of the media, right? The truth is that MSNBC and CNN flourished under Trump because the people that hated them, it was like crack to tune in every day. Oh, what's Maddow going to say about Trump today? What'd Trump do with Russia today? And so they tuned in. The problem is when Biden's there, what is there really to talk about? Oh, Biden, because they don't want to talk about the failures of Joe Biden. So they're just like, And so all of a sudden, yeah, MSNBC and CNN and the people that do political media, quote unquote, they still have to talk about politics, but Destiny doesn't. So now you got a big Andrew Tate arc, right? You're talking red pill people. You're talking drama and all this stuff. And I would joke, I said, oh, I can't wait till election season. All of a sudden, these lefties will come back to talking about politics. They didn't really care, to talk to me about things such as the Crossfire Hurricane investigation and the illegal spying on Trump's team. That was a long time ago. We really don't want to talk about that. Then we get towards election season. Now it's all politics. And they went from these positions that were sort of more nuanced and reasonable to Trump is evil Hitler. The Supreme Court has made him God Emperor. F around and find out if you go to a Trump rally and you get murdered. It's crazy opinions, but his audience is eating it up. The other thing is, Destiny is someone that truly believes, because he's gaslit himself and others have gaslit him, that Trump is this evil Hitlerian type person. And so therefore, the ends always justify the means, and you have to stop Hitler at all cost. And, that's to me the darkest thing that Destiny said in this whole thing. Yeah, making fun of Corey Competore from being killed and all that stuff, that's bad. But you could always write it off as a joke. But when Pisco asks Destiny, hey, did you want that bullet to kill Trump? And he can't answer. He's like, oh, I don't know what I could say because of terms of service. That's dark. And that's the logical extension of when you believe that the person that you are against politically is almost uniquely evil, uniquely corrupt. And, it's difficult because I think that there's a lot of corruption that occurs in our system as well. But I also try to constantly ground myself and to remind myself and my audience, you can't advocate for violence. You can't advocate. You still have to have a heart for the people that disagree with you. You have to understand that, they're not these inhuman monsters. And so I think that Destiny's he's in this spiral now where it's for me, this is what I saw occurring, that you had Joe Biden's disastrous debate performance, and then you had the assassination attempt for Trump. It's looking real bleak at that moment for Democrats. I mean, at that point, if Joe Biden wouldn't have changed out, and if the media wasn't able to control the narrative, and we started talking about how bad Joe Biden was, and they just, the assassination attempt on Trump and how powerful he looked, defiant, standing up against it, that's a bad news cycle for Democrats. And if you truly believe, this means that this guy that's like Hitler is going to win, you're going to be in a real bad place. And so Destiny I could be totally off base, but this is what I think happened. He's acting out almost like a child with the things he's saying in the aftermath of that, because he's not used to losing politically, because he's an institutionalist and the institutions almost always win. So he's lashing out, and then he says some things, and then he has some people apologize. You can't say that. And so his character is going to be, screw that, I'm going to double down. So then he doubles down, and people are like, well, that's even worse what you said. What? You said if your mom was at a rally and she got shot, so be it? Then he doubles down again. And what happens is he finds out that he is the type of character that he portrays, that he can't take a step back and go, okay, maybe I went too far with that. He's not going to say that in the moment. And his audience loves it. Yes, there's a portion of his audience that's like, whoa, this is too far. But he's not going to be able to apologize to him. He says, F you, get out of here then. See ya. And then he just keeps doubling down. And that's what's occurred. And it occurs in less serious ways. I had a pretty good relationship as far as streaming. Destiny might have thought I had terrible takes or whatever, but I think he trusts me as someone that could come on and have a discussion with him, and I'm not talking about the things that almost everyone else that debates him is. I'm not talking about his personal life. I'm not talking about his marriage. I just don't do that. I just talk about the issues. I'll tell him if I think his argument's dog shit, but that's it. We talk about the issues. But he's now getting frustrated even when he debated me that last time. I let him control the conversation for 5 hours. Then when we get to talking about what I want, he doesn't like the fact that he's not doing as well as he wants, so he rage quits. Then he has to justify it. So he says, Rob used AI 2.5 hours ago. And that's why, I just think that it's a spiral. I think that it's ultimately good towards the hardcore base, But to people that maybe watch Destiny, and I think there were a lot of them, I think there were a lot of people that watched Destiny and said, I think he's entertaining, I think he's interesting, I think he's smart. I don't necessarily agree with all of his political beliefs, but he's starting to bring me more towards his side. I think a lot of those people were turned off when they saw how extreme his rhetoric became after the assassination attempt of Trump. And maybe his numbers have been buttressed by people that are, he has had more visibility because he's on a show like Piers Morgan, and people that are rabid Trump haters that are like, yes, yes, good, I'm glad Destiny's saying that. So I don't know, maybe Destiny's viewership's up. That I don't know, and nor do I care. But that, I suspect that's sort of what's going on. How should you deal as an audience member? That's up for each person to decide. There are people I listen to that there are often things that I disagree with them significantly on, or there are character problems with those people that I'm just like, I think this person's probably a crappy person in real life. So I just ultimately have to decide when is too much when I say I don't find value, either entertainment or information value, in listening to this anymore. And, I have no shame or no hard feelings to someone that listens to Destiny still and says, you know what, I disagree with these comments, but I'll still listen to him. I think he's good, etc., etc. That's for each individual person to decide. So I've no hard feelings about that. But I think I've heard a lot of people like you and, say that was a bridge too far for them. So my suggestion would be, you should you stop watching then. Come watch my show. Or if you want another left-wing perspective, find a left-winger that's maybe not been that radical in their comments. Maybe someone like Pisco, who I think is actually most of the time a better debater than Destiny anyways. He has his own problems, but I still, he ain't that. I got to give Pisco a thumbs up. He also was aghast at some of the rhetoric about the assassination attempt in Trump that was coming from areas of the internet. So I will give him absolute credit for that. But yeah, it's tough. And the same could happen on the other side of the ledger. There certainly, I think, were people that were, Trump supporters that in a certain period of time might start saying some very questionable stuff about the need to use violence. And I think there are people that are like, ooh, wait, what? You seem so reasonable, 2 months ago when things seemed to be going better. But as soon as, I know I'm rambling. This is the last thing I'll say. It's a really important trait to have, to be dignified in losing. Like to not lose your head when everybody could look good when things are going their way. But if things aren't going your way and all of a sudden you become unhinged, sometimes it speaks to someone's character. And so maybe you want to, find people that you watch for entertainment or information value that have a better trait in being able to do that. So I don't know. I hope that answered your question. I know it's wordy, but
no. I mean, it pretty much did answer my question for the most part. I guess me as a viewer for both of you guys, I just can't deal with some of the unhinged rhetoric that you hear from Destiny when especially with the Corey Competore stuff.
Yeah.
I just felt like that was just so wild for him to be somebody who touts himself as an American loving, individual. How are you going to tout the death of another American as something funny and to make a mockery of during an assassination attempt? As far as Pisco goes, I fucking can't stand Pisco for the main reason that he just fucking smiles all the time. He can't go 5 minutes in a debate without a smug smile on his face, and it makes him impossible to watch for me.
It's really weird too. And I've told this the last argument I had with Pisco where he put me on notice for putting lawyer in quotation marks. It's a conversation I've had with him many times. I'll have conversations with Pisco just on my channel where he's like a completely different person. He's still advocating for his positions pretty well. He's still debating well, but he's not like a complete a-hole, right? And then it's like he gets in debate pro mode when he's talking to other people, and he just super intense a-hole, and he comes across as extremely unlikable. And Destiny could be extremely unlikable because he's already built enough of an audience that's going to be there, and he has FU audience and FU money. If he would say to you, then F you, I don't want you watching me. Go away. I don't care. He's already built that up. He put in the work. Largely, I'm no Destiny historian, but I think he was a streamer of other things, right? StarCraft and other things like that. So he's built that up. Pisco, for me, it's I honestly try to tell him, I feel like if he would, I'm not telling him to be less aggressive of a debater or anything like that, but if he would just try to be more affable in a lot of these interactions, particularly with interactions with bigger people, like Dave Portnoy or the editor of the Washington Examiner, I think he'd have a better chance of more people saying, "Hey, this guy's saying some interesting stuff." But he doesn't listen to me when I tell him. Like, one of the most common reactions I get from people when they talk about peace goes, "Why do you talk about that guy? He's a smug asshole. Like, he's terrible. He's insufferable." Okay, like I try my best. Sometimes I come across as that with certain people. I know Hutch's audience thinks the last time I talked to him that I was a bit unhinged, but that was some specific circumstance that were going on, where he called when I had 20 minutes before I was doing an interview and basically was proving the point I was making about not caring about what these Gold Star families said and interrupting and saying, "Yeah, I'll say whatever you want just so I can get to talk what I want." But few and far between are those times. I think most of the time, even people that disagree with me would say, "Man, Rob's likable." And Destiny has that at some points. Destiny can come across as funny and likable, but I don't know. I'm just saying, when it comes to unhinged rhetoric, you might not like Pisco, and he might personally put you off as far as his mannerisms or the way he portrays himself. But I am saying he did not even remotely pay lip service to the idea of wanting Donald Trump assassinated. He did not. And I know that's a small bar, where it's like, wow, that's it? That's what we're praising left-wing streamers for? Yeah, sadly, that's where we're at now. He just wants him in prison the rest of his life, but he's against assassination attempts. So, but hey,
yeah, I give you props for being able to deal with these guys and be able to cohabitate and engage with them on the level that you do. Also, super big props for the Destiny debate, which is where I discovered you. I can't believe you handled 5 hours of him griping and moaning, complaining about Trump, just for him to cut you off. But thanks for letting me come on the show.
No
This was really fun talking to you. I'll definitely pop in another night whenever I'm free, and it was a pleasure. Have a good night.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. All right.